Welcome to our Killeen ISD Community Recovery Press Conference. I'm Taina Maya. We have several of our city entities joining us today. We'll begin right now with our press conference briefings from each of those entities, and then invite our media partners to submit questions to us for us to relay to those entities. The public is invited to go ahead and comment on this post on Facebook page to be able to have your question read out loud and asked to those different entities. At this time, we'll begin with Dr. Kraft, Superintendent of Killeen ISD.
All right, great. Well, good afternoon. Thank you for taking time out of your busy days. I think that I would be remiss if first and foremost, we didn't recognize the gravity of the situation. We have truly all experienced a surreal weather event that is going to require very coordinated recovery efforts. And in working with our partners that serve the Killeen ISD district boundary, Mr. Kent Cagle, the city manager of Killeen, David Mitchell, city manager of Harker Heights, Kara Escajeda, she is the city manager of Nolanville. And of course, we've worked in very close communication this past week with our partners out at Fort Hood. And I want to, again, extend an appreciation to all their efforts and their efforts that are going to be ongoing. The intent today is really to try to describe the situation as it exists, what we anticipate and expect, what we are preparing for as we all row together to support our community. Again, this has been a significant weather event that has affected us all in very different ways. And so from a district perspective, we recognize that first and foremost, we are going to continue to ensure that all community members, staff members, students remain safe. That is our emphasis. That is our top priority. Safety, especially as we begin these recovery efforts, is going to be key. We also recognize that we're going to work and continue to work in tandem with our partners because we have to work to stand the community up. We recognize that learning services and the educational process is incredibly important, but we have to have our communities to a point where they feel safe to return to our buildings so that we can educate our students. And so again, our objective, our mission, particularly over the next 48 to 72 hours is going to be working in partnership, providing whatever support services we can to ensure our community is back on their feet. That being said, I feel like it's important to explain really where we are at this point. We have been assessing our facilities, and of course, as a large school district serving 46,000 students, 7,500 staff, we have numerous. We know that we have several issues across 27 of our facilities that are going to be significant. So that being said, we at this point are announcing we will not be holding face-to-face instruction on Monday. We're going to work this weekend. We have two teams ready to deploy to one, assess and then further inspect and prepare our campuses for a safe return. This entails ensuring that as we enter buildings, if there is power, that we don't have standing water. If we have standing water, we've got to pause. We're going to assess electrical panels. We're going to ensure that we're replacing and preparing the environment to include turning off water as needed to, again, get in and repair leaks. Again, we have these teams established, ready to deploy. We also have contractors and our own team lined up to go in and immediately start the repair process. That being said, again, we recognize that we are going to need to support our communities in the process. And so as a result, we're also preparing to potentially stand up grab and go meals, similar to how we conducted this in the spring for our students, because we know that many are going to be hungry. And then any other support services that we feel like that we can provide as a school district. We've worked in cooperation and in communicating with our partners to provide food provisions for warming shelters, first responders. We're going to ensure that they have fuel necessary to respond to emergency situations. And like I say, this is going to be an all-out effort and process to get our community to a point of being prepared to resume some form of normalcy. So we ask for our community to continue to extend some patience. We recognize that, again, needs are going to vary across the community. I want to be sure to ensure you all that we're already working on providing these services. We'll continue to work as we're assessing the need, and we'll get back. The one thing that I would like to, again, reiterate is it's kind of like making stone soup. My wife indicated, you know, this is going to be the old folktale of stone soup. If everyone rows together, everyone contributes to that soup, whether it be carrots, potatoes, water, the pot itself, we'll find that I think that we're going to recover in a much more efficient and quicker fashion. Just a couple of resources. We have already posted a counseling and mental health support resource to our main webpage. So it's KilleenISD.org. We would encourage you, students, staff, and community, to take a look. If you are in need of any type of counseling, mental health support, wellness support, we're going to try to help you with the resources, as well as a community resource guide. We, again, can't emphasize enough, we've got to have our community in a position of being on their feet before we're able to fully go about the safe return to our campuses. Our priorities, again, are very simple. Work in tandem in cooperation and in communication with our partners, support our community, whether it be with food, water, personal health needs. We've again established the wellness hotline, which is 254-336-HELP. And again, we have counselors standing by to assist. We encourage you all to be careful of any type of email scams, whether it be a fictitious FEMA email that is requesting a social security number, a mailing address. We're already seeing this volume of requests flowing to our parents and our staff. And so we ask that you be extra vigilant. That should not be occurring. Any personal information should not be being requested. And again, we're going to continue to work on our communication efforts all throughout the course of the weekend because we want to make sure that our community is informed of all the resources that we're going to provide and everything that is happening in cooperation, collaboration to get us to a point of being able to resume normalcy. I know there are many questions in regards to the makeup days and the calendar. So I'd like to address that very quickly. This right now is a lower priority, but we are in essence going to be discussing this with the Board of Trustees this coming Tuesday. I anticipate that we'll work to use the 4 early out days as one of the makeup days. We'll also turn April 2nd into a remote learning day that will be, in essence, the sufficient 2 days that are going to be required by the Texas Education Agency. And then we'll be discussing what waivers and other forms of relief look like going forward. So no immediate decisions are being made at this point. We will be discussing how we go about the makeup days, particularly 2, and then any waiver decisions will be communicated after the board meeting on Tuesday. Again, we ask that everyone take care of themselves, take care of their neighbors, ensure that they are safe, their family members are safe, their loved ones are safe. And again, we're going to do everything we can to help stand our community up and row together, and we're going to get through this. I'm confident we will get through this, and we'll look up hopefully sooner than later, and we'll be resuming normalcy. I know there are going to be several questions. Again, we will be assessing and addressing facility needs over the course of this entire weekend, and we're going to be prepared, like I say, to respond as we go through the recovery effort. Again, appreciate the partnerships. I appreciate your time this afternoon. I'm going to turn it over to Kent Cagle, our city manager for the City of Killeen.
Thank you, Dr. Kraft. Appreciate the cooperation with KISD and all of our sister cities. Just give you an update on the City of Killeen. Mayor Segarra declared a local disaster in effect February 12th to make Killeen eligible for state and federal aid. And that's important. We're going to be sending out some information because if we exceed $5 million in damage, all of Bell County, both public and private, There's two types of assistance that will be available. One, public assistance to local government agencies, but also individual assistance. So it's important, if you've had property damage, keep a record of that, know the amount. You're going to have an opportunity to enter that information in and see if we're over $5 million in damage in Bell County. I feel certain that we will be. Some of the things that the City of Killeen has been doing, we opened a warming station at the community center on February 10th. Then we moved that to Skyline Baptist Church on February 14th. Then we added Liberty Christian Center February 16th, and we sheltered an average of 75 people per night. Now, we do plan on shutting down those shelters on Sunday morning, given that there's no changes in the weather forecast. We also provided transport for 72 healthcare workers to keep Advent Health Hospital staffed. As Dr. Kraft mentioned, Killeen ISD and Bite the Bagel provided food for our first responders and shelter residents. Police calls for service have more than doubled in weather-related categories, and we've used our police non-emergency line as an information center for those seeking information. We've increased our fire minimum staffing, firefighters remaining at the station after shift to ensure we've got enough people available. Our emergency calls in the fire department have more than doubled every day during this event. On the public works side, where the real activity has been, we activated a 24-hour customer service center, and we've responded to approximately 500 calls and 400 emails every day. We have 20 crews investigating potential water line breaks and responding to requests to turn off service. And we've got one crew right now repairing 2 water main breaks. And we are still in stage 5 water conservation, water for essential purposes only. And we do have the boil water before you drink the water. And I'll get to that in just a moment. We have established a water filling station at our water and sewer office on 806 Jasper. It's open noon to 6 today, and Saturday and Sunday from 10 to 6. And then we'll see where we stand to see if we need to continue to keep that open. We've applied 1,000 tons of sand to roadways and emergency facilities. Our solid waste services were canceled all week, and regular collection is going to resume February 22nd. And you can place excess household trash at the curbside, and we'll pick it up for no additional fee. We expect there's going to be a lot of brush. There was a lot of damage to trees that people are going to begin placing out at the curb, and we'll start picking that up as well on Sunday. And we've got free disposal of household waste at the transfer station Monday through Saturday of next week. City offices were closed during the week, and we've moved the council workshop from last week to Monday the 22nd, and then we'll have our regularly scheduled council meeting on Tuesday the 23rd. And I would like to just wrap up a minute with the water situation, because it's something that a lot of people haven't been able to understand. But we receive our water supply from the Water Control and Improvement District. They lost power to their treatment plant, and they were not able to supply. They do have backup generators, but only at a reduced amount. So we started losing supply. Demand stayed the same. So pressure to the system is applied by pumping water up to the elevated storage tanks, and that water pressurizes the system. As those tanks started to drop in level, as we continued to have water usage and no supply and a much reduced supply, we lost pressure in the system. So about 90% of the system is pressurized that way. There is an area that's bounded by Clear Creek Road on the south and the west, Stan Schleter on the north, and Bunny Trail on the east, that also requires a booster station. But that booster station doesn't operate if we don't have the rest of the system pressurized. So that area of town has been impacted the most, and many of those folks are still without water. As our supply has now started to increase, as WCID has been getting electricity, our demand has increased greatly as the lines and the land is thawed. We're finding more and more breaks. So it's like we're on a treadmill. The more supply we get, the more demand there is. So we believe we're going to be catching up pretty soon, but we are still under a boil water notice. with varying levels of water supply through the town. And as I said, the worst part of town right now is in the southwest part of town. So hopefully we'll get the pressure up very soon. We are getting more supply, and I'll end it there and turn it over to David Mitchell, I believe.
Hey, thank you, Kent. I appreciate that. We, of course, do as well appreciate the great partnerships with our fellow cities, the county, as well as KISD. Those relationships are essential and will continue to be essential as we move through really what has become a disaster for us in terms of this winter event. First off, I just want to say a big thank you to our city's fire, police, public works, and parks employees during this historic winter event. Those folks have worked around the clock, put in countless hours, and I know they're exhausted, but I just want them to hear from me how proud I am of the good work they're doing. As well as I want to thank our citizens for their patience, grace, and courage during this difficult time. Staff has shared with me many stories. Many of the citizens have personally shared those stories with me, and really it's amazing to me they're calling the city for help and instead giving me words of encouragement to help me carry on through this. So anyway, we have some great citizens. We love serving them. And we also have heard those great stories of how neighbors are serving neighbors in our community. And we just know that's what Texas is about, and what Central Texas is about in particular. And we're just so thankful for our citizens. And we want them to know we care deeply for them and are working hard for them. Mayor Smith also issued a disaster declaration for the city of Harker Heights in relation to this on the 16th. And so we'll be operating under that. So as Kent so well put earlier, if money's become available, the city of Harker Heights should be able to tap into that. As well as City Hall did reopen today at noon. We're very thankful to have many of our staff back here at City Hall. It's been a very important day to have them here. We've had a call load that is unbelievable. As we have a good number of water breaks that have been occurring all week, but particularly today as things thaw out, people are discovering even more. And so glad to have our staff back, and staff will resume again on Monday. Of course, we'll have extra crews around the city all weekend long, particularly dealing with water shutoffs that need to happen due to water leaks. I think we're somewhere around probably now about 250 meters that we've had to shut down just because of water leaks. Want to also say that the city got out today and did some work on some of the problem areas around the city and our roadways. And of course, better weather today in terms of warmth is assisting in clearing of those roadways. And while the city is not under a boil water notice, we continue to encourage all citizens to conserve water. Our max stage is stage 4. As you heard City Manager Cagle mention there on stage 5. We track exactly with Killeen. We're at our max conservation stage. Ours is just 4. Killeen's happens to be 5. So we encourage all citizens, again, to continue to conserve water. Our system is strained at the moment. So again, we need to conserve water so that we don't get to a situation where we may have to boil water. If boiling water becomes necessary, we'll be pushing that out to our media partners as well as the city's website and social media pages. We are also encouraged to hear that more and more power is being restored around the city. But with that said, we do know that some have not had their power restored, and we know that they're suffering because of that. The city does have a warming shelter open at our recreation center, which is right next to City Hall at 307 Miller's Crossing for anyone in need. That is a 24-hour-a-day operation. We are feeding individuals that are there. We do have cots. You can stay the night. So if you need one place to stay, just please come see us. We'd love to provide you with that service. While the weather is improving, the city is prepared for major recovery efforts in the weeks to come. We ask citizens to continue to be patient. If you have a water leak or you notice one in the city, please contact us. Also, grocery stores have lacked supply trucks for some time and are running low on essentials. Fuel supplies around the city as well are depleted. So communities around the city are in the same condition. I mean, this storm event was not just for our area, it was for all of Texas. So traveling to find these items is simply not possible. So we must all be patient as these critical partners within our community are restocked. As the city recovers from this event, the city will take measures to the council this coming week to waive all permitting fees for any permits needed for repairs by citizens during this time. The city will also provide the necessary personnel to expedite any inspections of prepared work. It is our desire to make this time of recovery as speedy and as least costly to our residents. We are thankful for regional partners, as I mentioned as I started, Bell County, our municipal partners and KISD. And together, through our partnerships and as Texans, we will prevail. Thank you. I believe next is up is Carrie Escajeda with the City of Nolanville.
Thank you for inviting me to brief with you, Dr. Kraft. And I just want to take this time to remind the citizens of Nolanville that our primary means of sending out updates and messages is through the Code Red alert system, and you can sign up for that on the city website page. We have been watching the neighborhood pages and Facebook, but that's not our primary way to get emergency messages out. And like many of you have mentioned already, seeing the neighbors helping each other out during this time has been a very nice thing to witness. And I'd also like to reiterate what Kent Cagle from Killeen had said about making sure that you document all of your property damages so that as a county, we can possibly apply for some reimbursement for some of the property damage. So first and foremost, of course, call your insurance agency or your property manager. Then, take pictures, document it, keep your receipts. And then, of course, like we were mentioning it, keep an eye out for where you need to report that to the county. As far as water goes, the majority of the city is serviced by WCID 3. For the most part, we don't have any like severe damage to note of. We have, of course, the common breaks throughout the city, but the WCID 3 has been very responsive and they're not reporting any major problems. That doesn't mean that individuals aren't experiencing lots of water turnoff problems due to frozen pipes. And so they've asked me to just remind everybody that, if you're going to have to make your faucets drip in order to keep them from freezing overnight, try to do so in a bucket so that you can reuse that water and conserve, just as everybody has mentioned from the other cities. Those individuals near Nolanville, north of 439 and on Pleasant Hill on the 439 water supply are different than the majority of the city of Nolanville. They are under a boil water and are doing major conservation. So just keep in mind, not all of us are serviced by the same water district. They both have emergency numbers, and if you, right now, this is when everything is thawing, and so you might have checked earlier today and thought, no problems, no breaks. You got there like this afternoon, we found one under the sink because everything's, starting to pressurize. So check under every fixture, walk around your building a couple times, and if you notice anything leaking from curbs or on the side of the road, please report it so we can keep conserving water for the good of everybody. Our trash service resumed this afternoon, and they'll be working on their regular schedule. The majority of electric seems to be turned on for the city of Nolanville. There are still some pockets that are having issues, but don't assume that because you reported it once that they're tracking it and are going to take care of it. You can call, I can read it, 888-313-4747 and go ahead and report it again, because there are some times when they feel like they resolved an issue and then downwind from there, it's still a problem. So don't be shy about reporting it again. We do have we have a non-emergency police number that you can continue to call throughout tonight and this weekend if you require assistance. It's 254-698-6335. If it is a non-emergency, which it should be if you're calling that number and you don't get an answer immediately, please leave a message and we will get back with you. Otherwise, you can call or text 911. Let's see. We also will be resuming our Endeavor project where we assist with getting personnel to medical appointments, and we'll extend that to essential services during this time. So you can call City Hall on Monday, 254-698-6335 if you would like some assistance in that area. Our COVID testing will resume at Central Bell County on Wednesday from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. It'll be every Wednesday for the month of March, same time, 11 a.m., 7 p.m. 84 North Main at Central Bell. And while I'm on that topic, I would like to deeply thank our all volunteer fire departments. They cover all of Nolanville and a good portion of the county. And they've been working very hard, responding to all calls that they could. They've even allowed the police department to ride with them when it was so unsafe that the cars wouldn't stay on the road for the responses. So I really appreciate them right now. And so if you see one of them, make sure you give them a big thanks. And also if you are having like a severe plumbing issue, you can call that non-emergency police number, and we will try to give some advice on that. And we do have building inspectors ready for the work that they're going to see on Monday. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Kara. We do have a few questions. I'll start with Kent and then I'll go to David. These are 2 questions really quickly for you, Kent. The first one is from Facebook asking about the Goodnight Ranch area, stating that they were water was abruptly shut off today. If you had an update on that at all as to why that happened and when it might be restored. Sir, you're on mute if you would unmute.
Thank you. No, I do not have updated information on that. I don't think we would have shut water off to an entire subdivision. The only reason we would do that is if there was a water main break, and I'm not aware of that one right now. So, but if it's the entire subdivision, that's I suppose that's possible. Most of the service outages we're seeing now are due to frozen lines on the private side. Other than that one area I mentioned, from what I know right now, everyone should have some level of water service, but I'll check on Goodnight Ranch.
Another question for you, sir, coming from Channel 25. Do you know how much damage the city has sustained from the weather, and how long will it fix, if you can even estimate, to fix those water main breaks?
Well, the one water main break we're working on right now, it may even be repaired at this point. We did have, excuse me, have damage to the convention center. Our fire sprinkler system busted like many did, and so we had a fair amount of water damage in the convention center. But it's going to take quite a while to assess all the damage, and I'll tell you the long-term damage to public facilities is going to be the streets. So the water seeping into the streets, then freezing and thawing is going to create some serious damage that is going to occur for weeks or months. So that's probably the number 1 thing. I believe the water damage on the public side, we're going to get in order very quickly.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Mitchell, a question's coming from Facebook, several questions about Tanner Lane and that area, saying that they've been without power still, if you are tracking or have an update for them.
Unfortunately, do not have an update for them in terms of that. We are aware. We have had a lot of contact from individuals in that area concerning power. Obviously, Encore is swamped with calls from all over in terms of service. We know this morning, I think as of this morning, there was about 27,000 people in Bell County that were without power, which is totally unacceptable. But I know there's people working hard to try to get that power restored. But I do not have any updates as to when that particular issue around Tanner Lane will be resolved by Encore.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Kraft, a lot of questions. A main one that we're seeing is if you could clarify the expectations for students and for staff on Monday, now that you've officially announced the opening of school.
Absolutely, a great question. For clarification, we will not be able to return to schools, and we will not require students to engage in virtual learning. I also want to send a shout out to all of our teachers. I know that they have been working diligently to try to support our learners online with ancillary instructional support. So thank you very, very much. That's what we're going to ask our teachers to continue to do and provide through Monday. And again, we're in the same position as our city managers are assessing. We're going to be assessing as well. As it is right now, as it stands right now, we're asking employees to please refrain from going up to facilities, going to your schools in particular, until we have thoroughly assessed. One, we know that we have numerous fire sprinkler suppression systems that have broken. They've frozen and they have broken. Again, our partners, our first responders have been phenomenal to respond, silence the alarms. Luckily, no major fires, but it is going to take some time to repair. The main reason that I'm worried about the water standing on the floor is until we have the opportunity to thoroughly assess electrical systems, seeing that we had rolling blackouts, but we also had outages, extended outages. We need to be able to assess that those facilities are safe. So we will reach out to our employees and notify you of when it's safe to go into your classrooms and go into our facilities. But Monday, like I say, we will provide ancillary support, instructional support, but we will not be able to, unfortunately, have classes. And again, we'll assess and we'll continue to communicate long-term. The one inhibitor that I foresee, again, we've got to make sure that our community is on their feet. Potable water. We'll also need potable water, one, to pressurize our fire suppression systems, but also for drinking, for cooking, for restroom utilization. This is going to be a really important piece. And again, we're going to work in tandem and do everything we can to support our community, but also support our partners to make this a reality just as soon as it's safe and possible.
I did verify that we did not shut off water to Goodnight Ranch, but they do have very low pressure. Once again, it goes back to that explanation of until we can recover the levels in our elevated storage tanks, there's going to be some very low pressure around town. And that's why we're urging people to limit their use as much as possible and report any leaks that they see. If it's their own and they can shut it off, great. If not, if they can contact the city, we'll get out there and help. It's very important for us to stop the leaks as soon as possible. And that will help us recover those elevated storage tanks and restore pressure to the system.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Dr. Kraft, Alex Gibbs with KWTX is asking, will students be offered any chance to use water if they have suffered broken pipelines?
Again, we'll have to work in tandem with our cities and ensure that we have potable water for particularly consumption. So if our campuses, our schools that currently reside within the city of Killeen, we're under the same order. We'll have to boil the water, we'll have to prepare the water prior to consumption. So again, we're really going to need to assess, work in communication or in tandem with communication. And if we're in a position to be able to provide particularly drinking water for students, if that's the need that is articulated, that's what we'll work towards. But again, we're going to be working in collaboration and cooperation, which is really the intent of this entire broadcast today.
Brandy from the Fort Hood Central is asking if we have a number on how many campuses on post might have been flooded or had any type of damages. I know that we have responded, and Fort Hood has been tremendous. Their emergency response teams as well have just been overachieving this entire week. We know that we have two. We know that we have two fire suppression systems that have failed, broken pipes. They've responded to. We're in the process of staging firewalks to ensure that the facilities are safe. There may be more, as it's already been articulated. We're going to be in the process of assessing, and this is why we just need a little bit of time to thoroughly walk the facilities, inspect the facilities. And so two that we know of right now, there may be more though. Question from Killeen Daily Herald is, how is Killeen ISD working with city and local leaders during this winter weather crisis? Reports are coming in that KISD offered up gasoline reserves to local first responders. Is this true? And if so, who were the lucky recipients?
Well, this is accurate, and we have made our resources available to ensure that we're responding to the needs of our community. Our first responders are vital to this entire process, and they have been. I think that there have been so many examples that have transpired across the community throughout this entire ordeal, and so we've got to support their needs. So fuel is available as it's needed, and will continue to be needed, particularly as supply lines are replenished. Again, food, if food is necessary, we have a limited supply of food that we can also provide to first responders, warming shelters, and those in need. I don't have off the top of my head all of the data or the recipients. I know that the City of Killeen with warming shelters, first responders have utilized the food, but I think the people we're on hold and we'll be ready to respond tomorrow at the earliest if necessary.
Another question, Ken, if you could just go over the filling stations. Again, there's some questions about people, I guess, having mixed information about that. I know that there's one off Jasper.
That's our one right now is, I'll give you the address again, just a moment. 806 West Jasper. It's been fairly busy today, but not overly long lines, the last I checked. So that is our one filling station, and you need to bring your own container. But it is in operation until 6 today, and then Saturday and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Thank you. Dr. Kraft, how will the city's Stage 5 water restrictions affect the district? What will we do for water in the time being?
That's an excellent question. And again, this all pertains to us all being in the boat and rowing together. It will have an absolute effect on our abilities to have school. We're going to make sure that, again, first and foremost, our schools are safe, but we do have an ample supply of water. The community's water needs become first priority, and then the school's water needs will become the next priority, I know. And so we're going to work, like I say, as diligently as we can to ensure that this is happening, but it is going to be a process. And so again, open communication, constant communication, ensuring that the community is at a point of being safe, but also ample water supply, and then we'll begin to work to open schools.
Kara, would you like to speak to the Nolanville filling station?
Oh, thank you. I just wanted to put out there that there is a filling station available at the J.W. Sims Community Center. Individuals can call the 254-698-6334 police and non-emergency number to get access over the weekend.
Thank you. Dr. Kraft, hourly employees and employees overall, would you like to provide some update for them?
Absolutely. Again, we know that this is going to have a widespread effect. Our intent, we will be bringing forward the appropriate resolutions for the board's consideration, but our intent is to keep all hourly and waged employees whole, so that we will be issuing paychecks this next week. We know that hours have been missed, but we're dedicated to trying to keep all of our employees, hourly employees, as well as professional employees, paychecks whole. Again, we'll be issuing those paychecks this week. As far as Monday is concerned, as far as report times, directors will be communicating directly with their staff in regards to reporting efforts. We know that there's going to be quite a bit of cleanup that's going to be required over the weekend and probably into Monday. And so coordinators, directors will be reaching out to employees directly.
And I ask for a last call of questions for any of our partners. David Mitchell, did you want to speak about the Harker Heights filling station?
Absolutely, thank you. We have a filling station at our rec center, which is also our warming shelter. And again, that is open pretty much 24 hours a day there. And I know the VFW, which we have some information on where that is located on our website and on our social media pages, they are offering a filling station at that location as well. Thank you.
Thank you, David. The district is looking to provide an update to all of our employees and also parents and students on the next phase of this recovery process. We hope on Sunday afternoon. So we'd ask that you please continue to check all of our Facebook pages, our direct messaging to our parents and city partners, as well as our website. The latest. Dr. Kraft, do you have any closing words?
No, again, I just appreciate the community. I also have seen just so many acts of kindness. Mm-hmm. That one of the questions has been asked repeatedly, what can we do? What can we do as a community member, as a parent, even as a student? And right now, I'm going to ask that just check on your neighbors. This is a time that we need to take care of one another. We've got to put people, we've got to put safety first and foremost. Don't take any unnecessary risk. We know that we're going to have challenges with water. We're going to work diligently. I know that our crews have worked around the clock, and we're going to continue to work around the clock and getting our community back on its feet, resuming normalcy, and we will. We've got to work together. So the biggest ask that I have at this point is just let's take care of one another, and we will recover much more quickly. Again, the old analogy and folklore of let's make stone soup. That's what our community is ingrained to do. Work together, and we will thrive. We will overcome, and we're going to get through this. Again, appreciate our partners from Fort Hood, Bell County officials, the coordinated efforts. You'll see, I think, coming to fruition here very, very soon, if you haven't already. And we're going to get this done. So thank you again.
Thank you once again. This concludes our Killeen ISD Community Recovery Press Conference. Of course, the district will be in contact with our employees, parents, and students, community partners in the coming days. Look for that correspondence to come on Sunday afternoon. Thank you.